Welcome back to the channel, folks. So, let's talk about what's really going on with the orange fascist gangsters' never-ending tariff terror. Because this isn't about trade deficit or border security. And most of all, this isn't about protecting American workers. It's all BS. What we are watching is something much bigger. A corporate asset grab, dressed up as patriotism. Allow me to pull the curtains wide open for you, so you can see for yourself what's really going on in Trump's America under the leadership of Project 2025. In this video, we'll cover 4 key aspects. First, the smokescreen. Why the official story about fair trade is pure fiction. Second, the real heist. How Washington insiders using tariffs to buy up Canadian resources at pennies on the dollar. Third, Canada's hidden leverage. Why we are not as helpless as you think we are. And fourth, the breaking point. When does Canada finally says enough? Trump's trade representatives say those tariffs are retaliation for Canada taking American booze off our shelves. They say it's about dairy access, auto exports and wildfire smoke. They say they are defending American jobs. Now, that's funny. Does that sound like it could be true? Here's the reality. They don't want anyone to see. Tariffs on Canadian goods raises prices for American consumers. US businesses are literally closing their doors because they can't afford the supply chain chaos. Even some US senators are calling the administration out for having lost the plot on tariffs. But here's what really stinks. While Canadians and Americans struggle with higher prices, Washington is exempting those things that actually matter to them. Oil, potash, and critical minerals. All accepted. Why? Because American industries can survive without them. Which raises a pretty obvious question. If those tariffs are about protecting American interests, why are they targeting Christmas decorations and hockey gear instead of, the stuff that actually hurts? Let me pull back the curtain on what's actually happening here. This isn't about trade. This is a private equity-style takeover of Canadian resources. The playbook is simple. Use federal policy to tank a company's stock, cut it off from banking, then buy its strategic assets for pennies on the dollar. Let me give you a real example. Remember Sherritt International? They pull nickel and cobalt out of Canadian ground. The US expanded secondary sanctions on Cuba, and suddenly Sherritt's global banking asset vanished. Investors fled, the stock crashed to 12.5 cents. And who showed up to save them? A private wealth fund run by a former Trump advisor, scooping up a 55% control stake at absolute pocket change. And this isn't an isolated incident. There are many of those stories. It's a pattern. And I'm pretty sure you have heard about this one already, right? Kristi Noem. She served as Secretary of Homeland Security, then got shoveled to Special Envoy for the Shield of Americas. And what's her side hustle now? She took an advisory board seat at Nova Red Mining in Vancouver, sitting on a massive copper deposit right here in British Columbia. Are you flipping kidding me? You have a sitting US Special Envoy not even trying to hide her spying assignment in a Canadian mining company. That isn't diplomacy. It's a mob guy casing a jewelry store before the heist. Here's the build-up, my friends. It's time to talk about SEMA, yet again. In 2022, Canada quietly amended the Special Economic Measurings Act, SEMA, giving the federal government the legal power to not just freeze assets, but to seize them. Houses, corporate stocks, digital tokens, bank accounts. And here's the trap Washington didn't see coming. SEMA can pierce the corporate cover entirely, peeling back 20 layers of Delaware LLCs and Cayman Island shell companies to expose the exact names of the political elite pulling the strings. But it gets even better. Prime Minister Mark Carney, as I'm sure you know, run the Bank of England and the Bank of Canada. He's a global liquidity assassin who wrote the textbook on systematic financial risk. You don't bring a 100-year-old tariff law to a financial fight with a guy who knows how to demonetize your entire portfolio from a laptop in Ottawa. And while Washington plays its useless protectionists game, Canada is quietly building an entirely new economic reality. Under Carney, we've signed over 20 new trade agreements with Europe, the UAE, Indonesia, China, and so on. To double our non-US exports by 2035. We are building pipelines to the coast, removing interprofessional trade barriers, and create an economy that can survive without the US. So, when do we say enough? Here's the undeniable truth. Canada doesn't need to destroy US infrastructure or disrupt food supplies. It just needs to prove it can target the profits of those financiers. If Ottawa triggers SEMA and seizes one insider shell company, Wall Street gets the message. Your party is over, because money is a coward, and those people are cowards at their core, just like the entire Trump administration too. A hedge fund only buys a Canadian mine if they are 100% sure they can keep the profits. If there's even a 5% chance of a Canadian judge seizing their funds and exposing their secret investors, that deal dies instantly. The money runs away screaming. The minute Canada demonstrates this capacity, the entire operation implodes. You can't cripple an economy when the government holds the legal rights to confiscate your funds. It's like trying to rob a casino while the pit boss has a missile lock on your getaway car. You see, this is the true power of SEMA. We don't need to enact it, just to make them understand unmistakably that we can do it. And we will, if we have to. That'll do it. And the ironic thing, Canada is done with the Trumpian bullshit for a while already. The Canadian people have shown in poll after poll after poll they support retaliating heavily against Trump's tariff terror. Carney has removed the safety at the trigger already. Now every time Trump launches yet another of his BS tariffs on us, he is accelerating Canada's shift away from the US and pushes the US economy closer to the cliff. Because Canada is ready, Mark Carney is ready. The orange idiot is not punishing us. He is motivating us to accelerate our steps towards true independence. So, here we are, folks. The Americans thought they could turn a G7 country into a wholly owned subsidiary of a Delaware holding company. They thought they could crash our currency, buy our resources on clearance, and boast about it on the golf course. But they forgot one thing. Canada has spine. We have the resources they need. We have the legal tools to fight back. And we have a Prime Minister who understands financial warfare better than anyone in Washington. The question isn't whether Canada can fight back, but how we do it. We've got 2 weeks before those new tariffs kick in. And while Ottawa plays it cool, you better believe they are ready to respond. Here's what I want to hear from you. Do you think Canada should trigger SEMA as a warning shot, start seizing assets from Trump's oligarchs? Or should turn off the light in New York City, just for an hour or so? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And while you're at it, hit the like button and subscribe, because this story is far from over. This is the moment where Canada chooses its future. And I'm betting we choose sovereignty. Thanks for watching. I'm Wilfried Lemkula with Europe Curious, where we don't just repeat the daily headlines, but open the curtain so you can see for yourself what's really behind it. See you in the next one.